Chapter 16, A Bowl of Bologna. I come home with a pile of pictures taken with my new camera and start the wall of the left behind in my bedroom. I put up the picture of the abandoned house in my neighborhood. Then the pictures of towels on benches, deserted cars, and lost jackets. A sneaker, a baby stroller, and a t-shirt. I'm surprised how many things people leave behind. I wonder if they miss them later. The house is filled with smoke when I come downstairs, which means that Grammy is making fried bologna for dinner. Turns out that when you fry a piece of bologna in butter, it goes from a flat piece to a bowl shape. Grammy never gets tired of it. She thinks it's some kind of miracle. Then she fills hers with mustard, lots and lots of bright yellow mustard. Ronan is coming over for dinner, and I wonder what he'll think of this. He arrives just in time. He has a Portuguese tart from his dad's favorite bakery to share with us. Grammy is so excited you'd think she'd won the showcase showdown. We sit right away. Grammy leans over and pats Ronan on the shoulder. Well, Ronan, thank you for coming over to share our meal with us. It isn't fancy, but it's a favorite around here. That's okay, he says. I'm not that fancy, in case you didn't notice. Grammy laughs loud as she scoops a heaping glob of yellow mustard into her bologna bowl. Then another blob, and another. Ronan watches but doesn't seem to react. Then he scoops out a blob of mustard, and another, and then unscrews the top of the pepper and pours some of that on top. It's almost like they're competing to see whose mouth will catch on fire first. I wonder if we have a fire extinguisher. Ronan eats more fried bologna than is natural. He eats it up like it's the best thing ever, and I wonder what his father makes for dinner. After Grammy and Ronan finish off the jar of mustard, I stand to clear the dishes, and Ronan gets up to help. You're a fine guest to help out like that, Ronan, Grammy says. Your parents have done a fine job. I think he means to say thanks, but it almost seems like he doesn't know how. When Ronan asks for a dish towel to dry the dishes, Grammy laughs. No need for that now. We let God dry the dishes here. She lumbers toward the TV. Well, she says, it's time for some family feud. Seems like a funny thing to wish for, Ronan says. You're a funny one. You know that? She settles into her couch and turns to Ronan again. Your dad must be waiting on you. You need to head home soon? Nah, he says. Then he turns to me. Want to play Monopoly? Our first game took about 4 hours. So you won, didn't you? I mean, barely, but you won. Barely? I don't think so. I wiped the board with you. He smirks. Yeah, whatever. You want to play or not? We set up the homemade Monopoly game that my mother made out of paper when she was my age. The board is the real one that she found at a tag sale with Grammy for only 5 cents. So she decided to take it and make the rest, the cards, the money, and the deeds. Everything but the tokens. We use old coins that Papa found on the beach with his metal detector for those. I choose the buffalo nickel. Ronan chooses the bicentennial silver dollar. Whenever I use this game, I think about what it would have been like to play it with my mother. I bet we would have been friends if we were the same age. Ronan gets lucky, getting all of the yellows and greens pretty fast. But I end up with a bunch of the cheaper properties, so we trade money back and forth. The game lasts forever. When we're finally done, Grammy is asleep on the couch. I shake her shoulder a bit. Grammy, wake up. She moans and opens her eyes, looks about, and gets her bearings. Oh, I fell asleep. What time is it? Midnight. Ronan needs a ride home, or should he walk? Oh no, I fell asleep? His father must be worried sick. Did you call him? Yeah, I did, Ronan lies. He says it's okay. I look at him, but he won't look back. Grammy stands up. Well, I'll freshen up a bit and then we'll go. You two wait outside, but don't go disappearing on me. We head outside. So, I ask, why did you tell Grammy that you called your dad? He puts his hands in his pockets and walks in a small circle. I don't know. I know he does. I didn't want your Grammy to worry or be mad at me, and it makes no difference if I call my father or not. I can walk in at any time. Having no curfew sounds good, and then I begin to wonder if that's true. Chapter 17, Escape from the Cakes. I've just let Ronan in when Grammy calls from the kitchen. Delcy, honey bunch, I've got some chicken legs that are past due if you want them. Really? Excellent. Ronan looks at me like I've lost my mind. Why the heck would anyone want old chicken? I shake my head. The things you don't know about living on the Cape. Well, if it involves old chicken legs, I think I can wait. You'll see, I say. You're going to love it. Oh yeah, nothing like rotting meat to improve the day. When we arrive at Gray's Beach, I open my bag and pull out the chicken, some string, and scissors. Here, I say, handing him the scissors. We need long pieces of string. He cuts the string, glancing at me. As I tie the string tightly around the chicken leg, Rona looks over the side of the boardwalk. So we're here to catch stuff? Blue crabs! I see one, he yells as he points. And another one, he glances at me glowing. They're everywhere. I give him a chicken leg and I take one. We lower the chicken legs over the side and into the water. Mine lies on the bottom, but Ronan's is hanging in a deeper spot. I lean over. It has to sit on the bottom somewhere so the crabs can get to it. He looks over at mine and smiles. The crabs are running from all directions and climbing onto my chicken leg. Pull it up, Ronan says, leaning over the railing. Okay, here's the thing, I say. Once they are eating, you have to pull them up smoothly, but really fast before they fall off, because they do let go. Ready? Yeah, he steps up another rung on the railing. Hand over hand, just like pulling in nets on the reel, I pull up my string. 2 feet over the water, a crab lets go, then another. When the chicken reaches the railing, I have 4 crabs left. I lift the string over the railing and drop the chicken into the pail. I knock the crabs off with my hand and pull the chicken out for another round. Bending over, I say, wow, one of them is huge. Usually you can't catch those. Henry says it's a Darwin thing. They're big because they figured out how to survive. Like if you're suddenly being lifted into the air. Let go! Ronan reaches into the pail and pulls out the big one. We should name him Zeus. You can't name things we are going to take home to eat. Eat? Who wants to eat this? He looks like a mini alien. The crab pinches his finger. Ow! He yells, dropping the crab on the boardwalk. It must have hurt you. The crab moves sideways, running for the edge, but hits Ronan's foot. He jumps into the air and falls down flat. I pick it up from the back so its claws can't reach my hand. It grabs a hold of the edge of the plank, but I pull it off. How'd you do that? He asks. I turn my hand and show him. They can't reach you. Well, most of the time. Sometimes a big, smart one will figure it out and reach under themselves and get ya. Just then, I get pinched and drop the crab, which makes another run for it. Ronan laughs. Hard. Really? I ask, going for the crab again. You're laughing at me. You're still lying on the deck after being taken down by something the size of a pancake. Ronan stands. I wasn't taken down. I was just resting. Then he reaches out to take the crab from me. He turns the crab toward his own face, looks at it in the eye, and smiles. He bubbles. Yeah, they do that to keep oxygen moving through their gills, I tell him. Now put it back in the bucket. Grammy will make some great crab cakes out of it, with extra tartar sauce. You'll love them. He looks at me. Really? She'll make crab cakes? Yeah, she sure will. He stares down at the crab, and then he lifts the crab and holds it about 6 inches in front of his face. He doesn't look tasty. Wait until you see him with buttered breadcrumbs. His mouth swings to the side a bit. Then he looks the bubbling crab in the eyes and says, I dub you with the name Darwin, and now you owe me one, Darwin. He winds up his arm and throws the crab well beyond the reach of chicken on string. It lands with a splash in the marsh. He tries to hide his smile, but doesn't do a great job of it. Wait, what? Why would you do that? He shrugs and smiles bigger. Sorry, he was beautiful and just such a good fighter. I had to let him go. It's okay. That was better than eating crab cakes any day, I say, thinking about how much Papa Joseph would have liked him. He would have said Ronan is a good soul, and I would have to agree. Chapter 18. Who watches you while you eat a sandwich? I'm so happy when Brandy calls me to ask if I want to come for lunch that I have to keep myself from cartwheeling into a wall. But with every bubble of happiness that rises inside, the little voice taps me on the shoulder. When I arrive at Seaside, I run into Ronan. Hey, he says. I see Brandy and Tressa sitting down near the water at the picnic table already. Hey, I say, how are you doing? He looks back over his shoulder. Better than you, I think. What do you mean by that? He shrugs. Nothing. He pulls some gum out of his pocket. You want some? No, thanks. I'm going to have lunch with Brandy and Tressa. Why? Because they asked, and they're my friends. They are. I look past him again. Tressa's looking in my direction, smiling. Yeah, they are. Hey, he says, I'd love to eat with a couple of bull sharks. Or maybe they're more like oceanic white-tip sharks. Haven't decided yet, he looks up thinking. I don't know. I guess Brandy would be a bull shark. They can go back and forth between salt water and fresh water. They're not that bad, I say, getting annoyed. Not that bad is not something you find in the Traits of a Friend handbook. He pops a piece of gum into his mouth. Suit yourself. I just think that there's more to having friends than sitting around a table and letting them watch you eat a sandwich. I open my mouth to shoot back an answer, but nothing comes out. He tucks the foil wrapper in his pocket. Just saying, he shrugs. Well, see ya. I watch Ronan walk away for longer than I should, not so eager for lunch anymore. Hey, I say, approaching the picnic table, noticing my feet feel like bricks. Hey, Brandy says, and moves over to make room. Tressa smiles like a cat watching a mouse ease out of its hole. Thanks for inviting me. Her mother made her, Tressa says. Brandy turns red. They begin to unpack their lunches, which are both in the same cooler with a sea turtle on it. I look down at my brown paper bag. I pull out my root beer and pop it open. As I look at their fancy chicken wraps, I decide that I don't feel like eating a fried bologna sandwich in front of these two. That was a blast last night, Tressa says. Watching the fireworks from the beach was the best. Yeah, it was pretty cool, Brandy says. Every town does theirs on different nights all summer long, so you can always find them somewhere. Tressa turns to me. Did you see them? Oh, yeah, of course we did. Thinking that answering Tressa's questions feels like when the school nurse went through my hair looking for lice in the first grade. Brandy stares. She knows we don't do stuff like that. And then, Tressa continues, we went to that fire pit pizza place out on the beach. So cool. Have you been there? She asks. I hate pizza. Probably the only kid in the world, but I've never liked it. Brandy knows this, and yet I can't help myself. I look at Tressa. Yeah, who doesn't love that place? We go there all the time. Now Brandy's head falls to the side, and she gives me a funny look. But the coolest thing was the sleepover, Tressa adds. I can't believe we stayed up until 4 o'clock in the morning watching that movie. Your mom is cool. What movie? I ask. Brandy begins to answer, but Tressa cuts in. Like my question is inconvenient. Big. It's an old movie about a kid that wishes to be a grown-up and gets his wish from some fortune teller machine. It was pretty good. I saw a good movie on TV. It was about this girl who... Tressa interrupts, holding up her hand like she is stopping traffic. Could you go get more napkins inside, please? I catch Brandy stifling a laugh. I don't get the napkins as I'm ordered to do because it would be humiliating. Then again, staying is humiliating too. They talk about other things they've been doing, things without me. I try to join in one more time, but Tressa talks over me until I give up. When I stand and say I have to go, they finally get quiet. As I walk away, my stomach feels awful, which is weird because I didn't even eat anything. The bubble of happiness I had for this lunch pops like bubbles do, instantly and completely.